Ladies and gentlemen, it's a big, weird, wild world out there, folks, and here we stand. Al pie del cañón, ready for anything. I'm Rob, that's the Natch, and you're listening to...
The ProBoh Show!
Good morning, boys and girls. It's Friday. Oh, we made it, guys. We made it to the end of the week. It is the 1st of December. Get ready for all those Christmas ads and lights we're about to see everywhere. And also, if you're listening to me on the radio right now, it's our 20th anniversary. Pow, 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 pow. 20 years. Natch, congratulations, man. You've been there for most of those 20 years.
For 15?
15 of the 20. I have a photo here that was taken around this time, 2006. How many years ago is that? Like, I don't even know. 15 years ago, more or less. No, you were already in the company a while when this photo was taken, I think. No? I think so.
It has to be, I got here 2008, so it has to be like...
It must be
2008,
2009. Yeah, it has to be. Do you mind if I post that on my Instagram later?
No, of course.
I'm going to post a vintage photo of Rob and the Natch and friends from 2008, 2009. Vaughan Radio in its infancy. BN. Vaughan Radio BN. Before Natch. Yeah, 2006 is 17 years ago. So, okay. Thank you for your quick maths, people in the chat. Yeah, I remember the radio before it was even the radio. One of the first times I ever met Richard Vaughan. He was on a show with a gentleman called Jim Traynor, in someone's house. The studio was in someone's house, and I remember him saying, "I'm gonna have a radio station of my own." And like a year later, he did. Incredible. And here we are 20 years later. So happy 20th anniversary, guys. We're all very excited. I'm on holiday today, but I'm going to be here all day celebrating with everyone. First things first, I want to say a big good morning to everybody joining me live. If you want to be as cool and as sexy and delicious as these people, it's very easy. You go to twitch.tv/professional bohemian. Good morning to Vero, Min, Decoy, The Bridge, Nuryatam. How you doing? Vero says, good morning, beautiful people around the universe and beyond. Happy 20th anniversary. Thank you. Min is here joining us from the Netherlands. Good morning. Today is the day, says The Bridge. Decoy, good morning. Happy anniversary. Thank you. Nuryatam, good morning. Happy anniversary. Vero, Jim Traynor. R.I.P. What a man. Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. Hello. You're listening to The Lighthouse. What a man. What a legend. I miss Jim quite a lot. We lived in the same barrio. We lived and worked in the same barrio. And even after he retired, I used to see him all the time. Yeah. A loss to the world. A fantastic individual. All right, let's get into today's show. As always, I thoroughly tortured the elves this morning, and they provided us with... an exquisite lineup. Let's take a look at that right now. In today's 100 Humans, we ask people to name what people do to find themselves. What do people do to find themselves? Lo que la gente hace para encontrarse a sí misma. Yeah, to find themselves. Does that make sense, Natch? Even in the most esoteric of terms, I'm gonna meditate. I'm gonna go traveling. Yeah, it still means okay. All right, dude. Oh, he's on fire. It must be Friday. I'm on my third coffee. That's what happens. Then in today's Complete the News, we'll find out what was found in a Vietnamese man's brain. Yeah, a weird one today. How do you say Vietnamese man? Would you say Vietnamita, or is my translation elf making me a racist?
I used to say Vietnamita, but I'm not sure nowadays.
Oh,
Vietnamita, I think.
Yeah. Well, look. Apologies, guys, if we're being racist. We don't mean to. It's not our fault. It's the fault of the translation elf. I will break his legs later. Don't worry. And today's unpopular opinion on the subject of finding oneself. Today's unpopular opinion is there is no such thing as finding yourself. Encontrarte a ti mismo no existe. There's no such thing as finding yourself. It's nonsense. Woo! Let's see. It's a hot one. It's a hot topic. Let's see. Totalmente nativo, totally native, Vietnamita, says Vero. Can we get a nivelazo for both of us? We'll share this one, Natch.
Vaya nivelazo.
All right, let's get into some news, shall we? The ongoing population crisis, spermageddon, whatever you want to call it, it's here and it's here to stay. Again, we're going back to South Korea with this news from Newsweek.com. South Korea is experiencing a significant demographic shift, with its young adult population, aged 19 to 34, expected to halve by 2050. Oh my gods. This decline is part of a broader issue of the country having the world's lowest fertility rate. In 1990, young adults made up nearly a third of the population, but by 2020 they accounted for only a fifth of the total, 51 million. The elderly population aged 65 and above is increasing and is projected to outnumber young adults by the end of the decade. A growing number of young adults are living alone and remaining unmarried, with over 80% of them single in 2020. Geez, 80% of young adults single. That's awfully high, right? I don't know. This trend, along with low fertility rate of 0.78 per 1,000 women, poses a challenge to South Korea's long-term economic competitiveness and societal structure. In response, the government has implemented measures like birth bonuses and mass matchmaking events to encourage family formation. Guy, this is the worst thing. I don't know. You've seen that. You've done the family thing. You've already, you've got your ducks in a row. You're well prepared. You've never had to go through the abject torture of people trying to set you up with other people. I know my hairdresser, Rob. You've got to meet her. She's such a lovely girl. Yeah, cheers, Mum. Cheers, Mum. It's awful when your family does it. Imagine when the government is trying to set you up with someone. Jeez Louise. Rob, undermining the 100 humans. Nice. Yeah, there we go. I don't care. Screw the 100 humans. It's all about the warriors in the chat, the live audience, the Natch and I. We don't care about the 100 humans. This demographic challenge is not unique to South Korea, as neighboring countries like China, Japan, and Taiwan face similar issues. Yeah, it's plaguing. It's something that's going to plague the world, man. I mean, fertility rates in the West are not. Don't believe that we are making a lot of babies. We're not making a lot of babies, folks. It poses a challenge when we get into those retirement years. Are we even going to be able to retire? I doubt it. Who's going to pay for our retirement? There are not enough young people to do so. As I see it, being single is better than being with someone who undermines you, says Vero. Can we get a ProBoh approved? Boom, boom, boom.
ProBoh approved.
Yeah. Too right. Not all of us can be as lucky as the Natch, though. Not all of us can be as lucky. Hey, Rob, I met such a lovely girl in the supermarket. You've got to meet her. Oh, dear. Yeah, I wish that happened less. Everybody. Andrea, my friends. My wife's cousin. You've got to meet her. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. A piece of news from Business Insider, back to some economics. Shoppers are worried about the economy, so they are doom spending to make themselves feel better. Doom spending. Not sure how you translate that. Los compradores están preocupados por la economía y gastan en... how do you say doom spending? I would say more like fatalistic spending, kind of like pessimistic spending. I don't know. You know, like when you shop because you feel bad? In my case, for chocolate and ice cream. Doom spending. To make themselves feel better para sentirse mejor. This is coming from Business Insider. Doom spending. Yeah, the kind of shopping I think you do when you're feeling pessimistic. This article from Business Insider discusses the phenomenon of doom spending. I'm not sure how you translate doom to Spanish. Doom, perdición, fatalidad.
Okay.
Yeah, doom spending. Spending de perdición. Gastando de perdición or something like that. Gasto de perdición.
And there is no structure like
the one I'm inventing right now. You're welcome, Spain. Here I am, just inventing words for you. Top 100 comedy podcasts in Spain, according to Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple. If we want to invent words, we'll do it, guys. So the article from Business Insider discusses the phenomenon of doom spending, where more than a quarter of Americans are spending money to cope with stress about the economy and foreign affairs, obviously. We're in a time of turmoil right now. This trend, likened to doom scrolling, you've heard the expression doom scrolling, right, Natch? It's like you're on your phone and you just scroll constantly just to forget about life and the misery that is involved in being a human being. Doom spending, kind of the same thing. This trend, likened to doom scrolling, is particularly prevalent among younger generations, with 35% of Gen Zers and 43% of millennials engaging in it. Key concerns driving this behavior include inflation, cost of living increases, unaffordable housing, and insufficient funds for basic necessities or small luxuries. True story, man. It's just getting harder and harder to participate in the economy in any meaningful way. And young people, I think this is a bit the success of apps like Temu and, these cheap kind of, impulse purchase apps. Doom spending. I feel bad, so I'm going to buy myself a shaver. I don't know what they sell on these things. I'm going to buy myself a rucksack that will charge my mobile phone. That kind of thing. The rise of mobile shopping has facilitated doom spending, with significant sales revenue generated from mobile purchases, especially during events like Black Friday. Oh, so is our economy being propped up by our depression? Is that what they're trying to say? Is that what Business Insider is saying? We're propping up the economy by just being so depressed about the world and foreign affairs. The article also highlights the depletion of pandemic-era savings, with a dramatic reduction from 2.1 trillion in August to just 148 billion by September 2023. Additionally, credit card debt has reached near record highs. While consumer spending has supported the economy, there are indications that this spending trend may slow down in the coming year. Yeah, don't get into credit card debt. People thinking, there's no way humanity survives by the time I have to pay this back. I'm going to buy this thing that's been shown to me in this Instagram ad. I like how it gives me different answers if I Google what doom is in Spanish. Dutch and English answers aren't the same. Oh, I did not know that. Thank you, Min. Okay, should we do one more piece of news? Let's do one more piece of news. Let's go for a funny piece of news. I have some AI news, but we're going to keep it light-hearted. Here we go. Paraguay official. You won't believe this. As we've been talking about mistakes behind the scene, Natch, this is a good one. Paraguay official resigns after signing an agreement with a fictional country. Demite un funcionario paraguayo. Oh, Natch! I was very close to saying paraguayano then. Tras firmar un acuerdo con un país ficticio. Yeah. A Paraguayan government official resigned after mistakenly signing a memorandum of understanding with representatives of the fictional country, the United States of Malaysia. This country is claimed to be the rival of an ancient Hindu civilization led by a fugitive Indian guru who was wanted on several charges. The agreement signed on October 16th suggested establishing diplomatic relations with how is this pronounced? Kailasa, and supporting its administration to international organizations like the UN. Crazy. Just in case you ever feel bad about a slew of mistakes you're making, at least you didn't sign a diplomatic treaty with a fictitious country. On that note, guys, let's go to today's unpopular opinion.
Unpopular opinion.
It's unpopular opinion time. Time for our daily brain fart, our pedo cerebral, our pedo mental, nuestro rayada. I share it with you on our Instagram, and you guys get to opine there, but the real decision makers are the people who join me live in the audience. Okay, so you guys, I will go through some pros and cons, and you guys who are joining me live, you will be the ones who make the decision. All right, my friends, so here we go. Today's unpopular opinion is there is no such thing as finding yourself. There is no such thing as finding yourself. Encontrarte a ti mismo no existe. There is no such thing as finding yourself. What do you think about this? What's your initial take on this, Natch?
I would say there is.
There is. False.
False.
False. Yeah. How do you think? Do you think they agreed with you on Instagram?
I think it's going to be 50-50.
Give yourself a nivelazo. I would. Yeah. Well done. It was 40.
Nivelazo.
45% false, 55% true. As always, we consider that, because so many people vote on these things, we consider that more or less 50-50. Negligible difference there. Finding yourself does not exist. I thoroughly tortured the elves, and they provided me with some pros and cons. I have thoughts on this one that might surprise you. Gasto por fatalidad. My take, says the bridge. Gasto por fatalidad. Doom spending. I like it. Let's give a nivelazo to the bridge.
Vaya nivelazo.
Gasto por fatalidad. I like it. De fatalidad, I would say maybe. I don't know. It's not like you're spending on doom. You're spending because of doom. I'm going to pour. Okay. I don't know. Here's me opining on Spanish. Worst person in the world to do so. All right. In the pro column, agreeing with the statement that there is no such thing as finding yourself. Here we go. The idea that we are constantly evolving beings suggests that there is never a final, definitive version of oneself to find. Our experiences, beliefs, and knowledge continually shape and reshape who we are. You know, there is nothing more annoying to me. There is nothing more annoying to me than these people. So what are you doing with yourself right now? I'm just traveling. I'm traveling before I work, before I go to university. Traveling. I just want to find myself. Dude, you're right there. Ya te he encontrado. Estás ahí. No te líes. Just want to find myself. I'm going to go to India, find myself. All right. Okay. Before I get too flippant, let's continue. Also, in their pro column, agreeing there is no such thing as finding yourself. The notion of a true self could be seen as a social construct, not an objective reality. People's personal identity might be influenced more by societal and cultural factors than by an intrinsic, discoverable self. It's a true story. Who are you? Do you know who you are? I'll tell you who you are. You're usually a reflection of the people that you have around you. And that idea of self that you have goes evolving without you having to leave the house, without you having to engage in any specific endeavor. Next, the complexity of the self. We're getting into some deep psychology right now, guys. The self is multifaceted and complex, making the idea of finding singular true self oversimplified. People can exhibit different aspects of themselves in different contexts. True story, you've heard me say this before. We tend to think of ourselves like one singular self, and that is not true. We don't present the same side of ourselves to our boss as we do to our family. We don't present the same side of ourselves to a child as we do to a bank manager. We are different things to different people contextually. We are multifaceted beings. The idea of finding oneself really negates the fact that we are not just black and white individuals. We are fluid. Let's continue. Action-oriented existence. Some philosophies argue that the existence and identity are defined more by what you do than by an underlying essence you can find. In this view, creating yourself through actions are more pertinent than finding a pre-existing self. All right, so there's some interesting arguments agreeing that there is no such thing as finding yourself. You're never going to find yourself outside of how you are, how you treat people, the people that surround you on a day-to-day basis, the actions that you take every day. That is who you are. If you want to find yourself, that's where you'll find yourself. Okay, in the con column, saying, hang on, of course there is such thing as finding oneself. Encontrarte a ti mismo. I'm going to find myself, you're going to find yourself. Let's take a look. Many individuals experience moments of profound and personal insight or transformation, often described as finding themselves. This experience can be incredibly meaningful and transformative, indicating a real process of self-discovery. It's true. I've heard about this. I've experienced it in my own life. True, I didn't go to India. Didn't meditate. But what some people have described to me as finding myself, even though I wouldn't categorize it as such, has occurred in my own life. Identity and core beliefs. The journey of understanding one's core beliefs, values, and passions can be seen as finding oneself. This journey often leads to a greater self-awareness and clarity about one's place in the world. I do have some personal anecdotes about this. We'll get into it in the second half of the show. Next, psychological development. From a psychological perspective, the process of finding oneself can be an essential part of personal development, helping individuals to understand their own needs, desires, and goals. And finally, the theme of a quest for self-discovery is prevalent in many cultural narratives and stories, suggesting a deep-seated human need or belief in a journey to find oneself. It's true. It's all over the media, all over popular culture. If it's repeated so often, how can it not exist? Interesting. Let's dive into some ideas we have here in the chat. Finding yourself is one of the best ways to be happy. Some of the ways to achieve this, as I see it, can be to get away from noise for a while, detach from people or things that can be toxic, and try to get the best out of yourself. Interesting. Thank you, Vero. Decoy says, I do believe that it's possible to find oneself, in the sense that we are changeable and multifaceted being. The Greeks already said, know thyself. It seems easy, but sometimes we would be surprised by our own reactions, depending on the context. How are you doing, BTI? We are contextual, yes, says the Bridge. That is precisely why finding oneself is finding one's pure essence. You meditate, says the Bridge. Okay, it's true. I have personal experiences with this. When I was growing up as a young man, I engaged in behaviours that I would never dream to engage in today. I was the type of person that I wouldn't classify as very me as I understand myself now. How did I facilitate that change? How did I become a person that I like rather than a person that, I didn't like when I looked in the mirror? Was it a voyage of self-discovery? Is that where it was? Maybe. All right, my friends. Well, there you go. That's today's topic up for debate. There is no such thing as finding yourself, true or false. I don't know. Guys, that's why I'm asking you. I'm going to post a poll in the chat and ask you to vote, true or false. Oh, my friends, my beautiful, beautiful friends, it's Friday on the 20th anniversary of this beautiful radio station. There are so many things you could have been doing this morning, but instead of doing those things, you took the time to spend some time with me and the Natch, and it means the absolute world. I'll see you soon. Hey guys, if you'd like to support the show, you can do so on Patreon. That's patreon.com/professional bohemian. There you'll find VODs of the episodes as they are recorded live, blogs, vlogs, and behind-the-scenes content. If you'd like to watch the show live, you can do so on twitch.tv/professional bohemian, and you can participate in the polls we use in the show on Instagram @professional bohemian or Twitter @ProBoh, PROBOH. Okay, on with the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. You're listening to the ProBoh Show live at 9 a.m. Central European Time, 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. for our friends in Hong Kong and the Philippines. A big special thank you, by the way, to those angelic, godlike beings that are downloading the podcast. There seems to be more of you every single day. We have doubled, Natch. We have doubled, well, more than doubled, the people downloading this show from this time last year, which is incredible. So big thank you from me to you guys. You rock the block. Thank you for sharing all the content that we make, all the hard work that we put into the show. Thank you so much. The elves love you. I love you. Natch loves you. And that's that. That's a fact, friends. It's a ProBoh fact. All right, if you just tuned in, what have you missed? We spoke about South Korea's population collapse. Worrying stuff. It seems to be a lot of Western publications want to talk about this issue in Asia, but the fact is it's a global phenomena certainly happening here in the West. Then we looked at the phenomena of doom spending. I like what the bridge called it. Hang on, wait, where is it? Gasto por fatalidad, said the bridge. Did we give her a nivelazo for that?
Será posible.
You get two.
Vaya nivelazo.
If you got another one before, that's your second one. That's how much we love that translation. Yeah, how depression, worries of the economy, worries over global affairs are leading people to spend and to incur debt. Yeah, apparently credit card debt at an all-time high. People thinking, oh, the world will end before I have to pay this back. I'm going to buy a new Samsung TV. And then we looked at the Paraguayan official who had to resign because he signed an agreement with a fictional country. A little bit of funny news for you there. And then we got into today's philosophical, psychological, unpopular opinion, which was finding yourself doesn't exist. There's no such thing as finding yourself. Instagram was split. Almost a 50-50 vote. 55% said true, 45% said false. A lot of people voted on that one. Thank you so much for participating. I did get some messages. I got some messages. So let's read out some of the things that our friends on Instagram said. Lena, I totally agree. This whole always... Oh, no, wait. Sorry, that's not it. No, those are from yesterday, Natch. I'll find those in a little bit for you. I didn't, This is what happens when one doesn't check one's notes before going live. Here we go. I can't find them. It doesn't matter. I did get some. Let me just open up my Instagram account right now. Look, we're doing this live, guys. This is live radio. This is what happens. The thing is, I can't say yes or no. This is from Nessa Vanessa. I think we find new versions of ourselves all the time. We never find ourselves because there is really no definitive self. Does that make sense? It completely does. It completely does, Nessa. Because I agree. The idea of a definitive self, one single facet of ourselves is a myth. There is no one self. We've discussed this so many times in the show. Whereas our morals, our moral fibers, our red lines that we never cross are more fluid than we'd all think. Lying is wrong. Unless we're talking to a kid about Santa Claus, right? Still lying. Yeah. Everything about ourselves is fluid and shifting constantly. The idea of finding a definitive self can be misleading. Because there is no true definitive self, I would argue. However, in my life, I have experienced what it is to find oneself. Now, when you know that most of you listen to this show know that I had a very troubled youth, problems with alcohol. I was brought up in a poor city with quite a lot of violence, racial violence at that time, and owing to a lot of hard work and a lot of escaping and a lot of grinding, I got out of that cycle of pain and abuse upon myself into something better. Now, was that finding myself? Did I find myself? In a way, I would say I did. Now, at that time in Bradford, at that moment in my youth, it was clear that people had a very clear perception of who I was. I fought, I drank, and this is who I was, and that is the person I was, and I got into a loop that I couldn't escape because the people around me reflected that image of myself back to me. I was very lucky to be able to manage to lie my way into a university and start from scratch. I turned my back on all my friends and everyone that was around me at that time and got the chance to construct a version of myself that I liked. Does that make sense, Natch? Yeah.
Yes, it does. Mm-hmm.
So maybe that is the process of finding oneself. Not so much a discovery, but much more a construction of a person, of a reflection that we more enjoy. It's amazing how the impact of being around people who see you in a certain way has on your own sense of self. I went from being surrounded by people who thought I was a violent drunk, to be surrounded by people who saw me as a creative, who saw me as someone who was friendly, happy. And all of a sudden, that is who I was. Is that finding yourself? I found those messages on Instagram. Okay, back to Lena's comment here. She said, no way. Finding yourself is totally real. When I travel, I learn so much about who I am and what I want. Derek, finding yourself honestly seems like a luxury. In my line of work, en mi trabajo, en mi industria, in my line of work, you just focus on the task at hand. You make yourself into who you need to be to succeed. Interesting. Priya, P-R-I-Y-A, Priya, is that a Spanish name, Naj?
Priya rings a bell.
Priya. I believe the concept of finding oneself is not a destination, it's a process. It's about understanding your emotions and behaviors. Alex, final one we'll read today. Thank you, Alex, for this one. The idea of finding yourself is kind of a philosophical cop-out. Estafa. Timo. Is a philosophical cop-out. We're always changing. The self is a construct, constantly influenced by our experiences and choices. Interesting. So why is it that, do you think Instagram is so split on this subject? The Bridge says there is no better place to be than here, right here, listening to the radio. Thank you, Bridge. We love you too. Get out those mother-in-law ticklers, says the Bridge. I don't know what that is, but thank you. Yes, Rob, you found yourself without knowing it the hard way. Yeah. But I insist that I think the reason the vote on Instagram was so split is because of the nomenclature. I don't think we find ourselves. I don't think we ever find ourselves. What happens is we get put on a path and get surrounded by people who see us in a certain way, and that confirmation bias leads us down rabbit holes that we can't escape. If you are surrounded by people who say you're useless and who see you as useless, guess what? You're useless. If you find yourself around people who think you're capable, who think you're powerful, then guess what? That's what you become, friends. It's not so much a question of finding oneself as it is building oneself through the people around us. I think. Anyway, but who cares what I think? As Grandpa Bo used to say, friends, opinions, they're like buttholes. Everyone has one. They all stink, including mine. Let's turn our attention to you beautiful, beautiful people in the audience. I made the statement that there is no such thing as finding oneself. And you guys said, Jeezy Louise, holy moly, 100% false. Good job, guys. Good job. It's true. It's true. I've made some massive... I was lucky enough to have the opportunity, through dumb luck, to discover a way whereas I could construct my future based on a much better circle, social circle. I was so lucky. What's this? Mata suegras. What's mata suegras? Not.
I don't know in English. That thing that you have in parties.
Ah.
That you blow and.
So that's a mother-in-law tickler. We call it. Oh God, what do we call that? A kazoo? No. Yeah, but I know that. And it unfurls, it uncurls. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you, Bridge. So yeah, whereas I would say maybe there's no such thing as finding oneself. You can't find yourself. You were never lost. What's happened, if you're listening right now and you kind of find yourself in a rut, in a place, in a dark place, you look at yourself in the mirror, you're not happy with what you see. I've been there. We've all been there. I'm sure even Natch has been there. So what do? What steps do you take? Understand that you are a reflection of the people around yourself. You know, quite often we take a liberty and communicate with ourselves in a way we would never permit other people to communicate with ourselves. Oh God, Rob, you're an idiot. Why did you say that? I'd never let anyone talk to me like that, the way I talk to myself. If I'm around people who treat me in a certain way or see me in a certain way, eventually that's what I'll become. If you want a brighter future, friends, you want to see a better person in the mirror, then simply surround yourself with better people. Finding yourself can be a bit of a misnomer, but you can 100% build a better you. You can start today, simply by looking at yourself through better eyes and surrounding yourself with people who see you in a better light. That's my final thought, friends. Let's go to today's 100 Humans. Corporate Alligator says, do the right thing. Go to India and you will find yourself. I'm going to go to India and find myself. All right, friends, it was a long walk to work today across snow-capped mountains and through river valleys, and on that walk, I encountered 100 humans, and I asked them all a question. Today's question was, what do people do to find themselves? Lo que la gente hace para encontrarse a sí mismo. A sí misma. No?
¿Será posible? Vaya nivelazo.
Natch, you're really spoiling me today. I love it. It's because it's Friday, isn't it? It's because it's the 20th anniversary. All right, so what do people do to find themselves? I got a lot. You guys really did good work on Instagram today. How many messages? A lot of messages. All right, I'll try to get to all of those. But as we always do on the show, we first turn our attention to the one and only Oracle. Oracle, what do people do to find themselves?
Meditate.
The The bridge agrees. Life.g17_17g life on Instagram agrees. I'm just going to call you Life. I think I said that yesterday, didn't I? Nessa Vanessa agrees. Would you say meditation and mindfulness is kind of the same thing? It's kind of the same thing. Nessa Vanessa agrees. Who else agrees? There were more. Coco Lavanda agrees. Meditate. Is meditate there? Yes, it is, guys. Well done. Look at you golden gods out there. It's the second most popular answer, with 20 of 100 humans saying in order to find oneself, one must meditate. Meditation. All right. You know my feelings on meditation, Natch. We'd have to go there. I meditate at least 8 hours every night. I have tried to meditate. It's not like I'm a complete skeptic. I've given it a go. It's just not my cup of tea. I prefer painting. Okay, so meditar. 20 of 100 humans said that. Second most popular answer. All right, let's go to the chat. Corporate Alligator says a gap year. Corporate Alligator, you've practically said this before we got into the thing. Well, okay. So Corporate Alligator says go to India, travel. Rafelka says travel abroad. Who else says travel? A few people in the chat. Get lost, says Vero. I think she meant to get lost out there, not an instruction for me. Travel says Athuldan. Athuldan, thank you for that. Yoga. No. Okay, so there you go. So a bunch of people there. I'm sorry, it's a long list of I appreciate you writing to me. Is travel there? Athuldan, a bunch of others. Rafelka, Corporate Alligator, travel. Is it there? Yes, it is, friends. Well done. Athuldan, Corporate Alligator, it's there. It's the number one answer. Viajar. The travel. To get lost in the world. Yeah, who else said that? A bunch of people said that. Also Vero. I'm gonna have to do like I do with the comments, Natch, and write all these out. There's so many. By the way, thank you to Carmen, Coco Lavender, Ravdos, Vero, Gemma Resino, Athuldan, CJ Barbas, Nessa Finessa, Life G17, Camera Scorer. Thank you, all you guys, for all these messages. They mean the world. You guys are killing it. Decoy here says do windmills. And I think he means windmills in the vernacular we use on the lunchtime show. Is doing drugs there? You want to find yourself? Magic mushrooms. Doing windmills. Is it there? No, it's not. Traveling abroad. Exercise, says the bridge. Exercise. Is exercise... Well, Nessa says yoga. Apparently yoga is exercise, Natch. Someone's told me that. Standing still for long in the same pose for long periods of time is exercise. In fact, Natch, I'm exercising right now. Yoga. Exercise. Camino de Santiago, says another person. I suppose that is exercise. It's a bit mixture of exercise and viajar. Exercise. Yeah, a bunch of people have said exercise. Is it there, though? The bridge in the chat in the live audience says exercise. Yes, it is. Well done, Bridge, and everyone else. Exercise is their seventh most popular answer, with 3 of 100 humans saying exercise. Getting lost in your favourite place. That's what Vero said. Not to get lost. To get lost in one's favourite place. Is it there? No, it's not. Wah, wah, wah. I'm pretty sure someone else in the chat someone else on Instagram, I read this one. But right here I can see it from Corporate Alligator reading Reading motivational books, reading self-help books. Reading. Is reading there? Corporate alligator. Yes, it is. Well done. Reading is there. It is the third most popular answer with 17 of 100 humans. All right, let's turn our attention to Instagram. Okay, we have meditate, yoga, get therapy, materia oscura, materia_oscura on Instagram says to get therapy. Is therapy there? To find oneself. Therapy. Yes, it is materia oscura on Instagram. Killing it. Therapy is there. Fourth most popular answer, again with 17 of 100 humans saying therapy. I do have some other ones here. Losing everything, says CJ Barbas. Losing everything. You find yourself. It's true. The things that you own end up owning you. Losing everything. Is it there? No, it's not. What else do we have here? Leaving a job you hate, says Gemma. Leaving a job you hate. Is it there? Great answer, but sadly it's not. Identifying a purpose for oneself. Finding your purpose, says Ravdos. You need to be more specific, Ravdos. Bwah, bwah, bwah. Good answer, but it's not there. Going for a walk, says Coco Lavanda on Instagram. Going for a walk. It's not there. Bwah, bwah, bwah. And finally, Carmen on Instagram said gardening. Good answer, but not there. Okay, time for some clues. You've got 2 more left to go. Okay, this, Anne Frank did this, famously, Natch. Anne Frank. What would one do to find oneself?
Write a diary?
Write a diary, journaling. Well done, Natch. Un diario, right? Next clue. This is working, but oh god, I'm just giving away the answer. It's working, but you don't get paid for it. What is it?
Volunteering.
Volunteering. Well done. All right, there you go. Things people do to find themselves. In position number 7 was exercise, ejercicio. I think I screwed up the pronunciation there, but it's Friday. Who cares? 3 of 100 humans said that one. In position number 6 was volunteering. 3 of 100 humans said that one as well. In 6th place, voluntario?
Hacer voluntariado.
Hacer voluntariado. Thank you. In position number 5. Write a journal. Escribir en un diario. I don't know. Thank you, Rob. In position number 4. We had go to therapy. Terapia. In position number 3. With 17 of 100 humans was to read. Corporate alligator. Good one there. Write a diary, said Vero, by the way. Good. In position number 2 was to meditate. Meditar. 20 of 100 humans said meditate. And finally, in position number 1 was to travel. Well done, guys. I like posting these on Instagram, but I need to find a better way of reading them on the show because I have to scroll with my thumb here from left to right, and it's weird. But thank you for participating on Instagram as well. Again, you can participate in all these sections of the show, not only live, but also on Instagram at Professional Bohemian. All right, let's go to Complete the News.
Complete the news.
Okay, friends, you know how this works. I'm going to give you a real news headline, but I'm going to leave out some important information. Your job in the chat is to complete the news. Let's go. I've never reached higher levels of introspection than through altered states of consciousness, says the coy. Me neither. So I'm told. All right, anyway, let's get in there. A Vietnamese man experiencing severe headaches for 5 months discovers blank in his brain. Un vietnamita con fuertes dolores de cabeza durante 5 meses descubre blank en su cerebro. Oh, I know, Natch. You're impressed. I did that quick and well. Was it A? What did he discover in his brain? Was it A, a microchip? Bill Gates, what are you doing? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm triggering all the conspiracy theorists out there. God, hell yeah, Rob, you tell them. Is it A, a microchip? B, a model of the Statue of Liberty? Maqueta de la Estatua de Libertad?
Libertad.
A model of the Statue of Liberty, or C, chopsticks, palillos, chopsticks. You know, you eat. I don't know. Use a knife and fork. Either way, it doesn't matter. Okay, A, B, or C. A Vietnamese man experiencing severe headaches for 5 months discovers blank in his brain. A, a microchip. B, a model of the Statue of Liberty, or C, chopsticks. Go on, Natch. You're going to tell us.
B.
B, little model of the Statue of Liberty. Good morning. How are you doing, Carmen? Everyone, I see C's here. I think C is in the lead. Chopsticks. The answer is C, chopsticks. Yeah, crazy piece of news. A 35-year-old man in Vietnam who had been suffering severe headaches for 5 months discovered a pair of chopsticks lodged in his skull. Guys, this link, along with all the rest of the links, you can find on my Patreon. Thank you so much for being here. What a wonderful week. I'll be back with a lunchtime show later. Guys, thank you so much. So many things you could have been doing this morning. Instead of doing those things, you took the time to spend some time with me and the Natch, and it means the world. See you next time.